guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Tiffany and this is Tiffany's Tiles and More. And so today what we're going to make is a twist on the motherhood walk in the park tumblers. So what I've got is Quarantine is a walk in the park coasters. So I've got a set of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 that we will be making today. I had a really great time making this. I got the file, the SVG off Etsy. It was a motherhood one, and then I changed the quarantine part. I used a font called Dino Sauce that I got off of Creative Fabrica, and it has like little dinosaur details in it. I don't know if it'll focus so you can see it, but you can see the little dinosaurs in it. It's super cute. I love it. I think it came out really great. And these are 4x4 ceramic tiles. I used all Glitter Chimp glitter. I don't have it with me, but this one is Jinx Color Shift. This one is Scandalous Color Shift. Nope, I've lied to you. That's Drama. This one is Scandalous. And then Greed is the 4th one that I used on these. I love the color shift glitters. And so I hope you have fun making these. They're so much fun to make. So I'll see you at the end. Alright guys, we're gonna get started. I've got my 4x4 coasters here. And anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and get started taping them off. Just got my masking tape and my X-Acto knife. If you've watched any of my videos, you've seen me do this process before. I'm basically gonna tape off the edges so that if there's epoxy drip over, I can just peel off the tape afterwards and there's not really unseemly bumps on them. So I'm just laying this down so that it is flush against that edge right there. Press it down, take your X-Acto knife and just kind of slice. And there you go. Nice and clean. I'm going to go ahead and speed through this so you don't have to watch me do masking tape on 25 tiles. Alright, so I've got my 4 tiles here. I am going to go and spray paint them, so I will be back in just a minute. Alright, and I am back. I've got my tiles. I spray paint them black because if for any reason the glitter doesn't cover it completely, the black will blend in better than the white. So I've got my epoxy all mixed up. And I'm gonna go ahead and lay down a super thin coat and then put the glitter on there. And then I will see you once it's dry. Alright, so I've got all of my tiles done. This is the purple to blue. I don't know if you can see that. This one's the Scandalous. This is kind of the rose goldy one. This one is, I think, Drama. Yeah, Drama. See, it's kind of green to reddish, and then this one is green. It's kind of a green to orange. So I'm gonna wait and let these cure overnight. and then I'll seal them and put the layer of epoxy over and let it cure, and then we'll start the decal process. Alright, so I am back. Sorry about that. I've got all my stuff cut out. I cut it out with my Cricut. This file, I bought the Jurassic Park thing, and it said Motherhood, but I found this font, and I'll put a link to it below. I don't remember where I found it, but I'll figure it out and put a link in the description. It is like dinosaurs within the letters for quarantine. So like it took 800 years to cut out my Cricut, but it looks awesome. And I will say Cricut vinyl gets a pretty bad vibe or bad rap in a lot of ways, but it is the only vinyl that I have used that can do like teeny tiny little detailing like this. Like this is 2.5 inches tall. It's not tall at all. And these letters are cut out perfectly. There are a couple of them that I had to, you know, push down with my weeding tool just because, I don't know, it just got stuck in the process. But all of these teeth details are perfect. So this is the best vinyl I've found for like super tiny fine details like that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put this transfer tape on here and get ready to go, and we'll be right back. All right, so I've got my tiles that are all glittered. You can't really see it very well, but the color shift is awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and place my decals. Pro tip, don't use stenciling vinyl when doing this, especially on a dark base. I did that on the very first cup that I ever did, and I'm lucky it came out okay because I legit couldn't see where I was putting my decal because it just kind of disappeared. So there's that. So going about not there. Shoot. I'm real twitchy tonight. Do not want it right there. Oh, I'm missing a part of this end. All right. I want it right there. Okay. This is the fun part, and also a little bit the most tedious, deciding where you want your decals to be placed. For these, I made the main part of it a little bit smaller because I wanted to have enough room on the tile to have the little feet marks and a couple of claw marks and have room to do the geode kind of look. But I mean, really, it's up to you. You could make that, you know, that quarantine decal as big as you want it. Make it 3.5 inches so you don't have any room on the sides. I really like this Cricut vinyl for doing peekaboos. It's a little bit more difficult to remove, but it really does cut very well for the tiny, tiny details. And I do try to reuse my transfer tape whenever possible. Stuff's pretty expensive, and I actually like it when it's a little bit not as sticky for some projects because you don't want it to get like marks on your epoxy or leave residue on things. And you can see I use actually this pick set that I got from Harbor Freight to do my weeding and stuff. But yeah, you can put the feet and the slashes anywhere that you want. It's all up to you, your own design. This is just how I kind of did it for my first try. I ended up giving these as gifts to my brothers and sisters-in-law, and they absolutely loved it. Their kids were so excited. Alright, there we go. Got my decals placed and pushed down really well. So I will do the other 4 and then I'll be back. Alright, I've got my 4 tiles all ready to go. The decals are on there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to spray them first with a layer of black spray paint. Let that dry for probably 20-30 minutes and then come back over it with a layer or 2 of white spray paint. What that will do is give it that distress look when you start to rub away the spray paint with the acetone. So I'm going to do that and I'll be back when it's time to take off the decals. Alright, and we're back. I've got my tiles that have a layer of black and a layer of white spray paint. They're dry. Let them dry overnight. Got my acetone, a microfiber cloth, and my weeding tool. So this is the most tedious part of this. So next step is to go in and remove all of your vinyl. Now the ease of this all depends on what kind of vinyl you used. I used Cricut vinyl. It's got fairly decent strength to it, so I don't expect it to come up super easily. I'm trying to be careful and not scratch the paint too much. I mean, it's not the kind of design where if you scratch it, it's the end of it, because you want it to kind of look rough. But I also don't want it scratched to pieces either, so let's see what we can do. And I find a combination of weeding tool and tweezers is the best. This fancy thing that I have is a weeding ring. I got it from Little Leanne Rose. She has a store and it's amazing because I hate having nowhere to put all the tiny little baby vinyl pieces that I'm weeding, and so it just goes right in there. It's amazing. You just kind of put your tool in there and wipe it off. Please ignore my dog. She acts like she's never heard a noise before every time. Every time. I'm just going to go ahead and time lapse through the rest of this so you don't have to sit here and watch me weed 4 tiles for the next 40 minutes of your life. It didn't really take that long, but you get the idea. You can see the Peekaboo glitter through the spray paint. I love it. This is the most satisfying part of the peekaboo process, is peeling off the decals that you spray painted over and revealing the glitter beneath. It's so satisfying to watch it become exposed. I love it. All right. Okay. Got them all weeded. Whoop. Let's go a little left on there. I'm really happy with how they turned out. So our next step is the ever so fun acetone. So I use either a microfiber cloth or sometimes a paper towel wrapped in a coffee filter. And all you're gonna do is get you some acetone on there and rub. I'm so sorry for the shaking. I didn't realize it was happening as I was doing it. My tripod is on my table at this point because I rearranged my room. And yeah, so I'll just fast forward through this so you don't have to experience that in real life time. So basically all I'm really doing is rubbing the glitter in the pattern that I want to see it exposed. You can do as much or as little as you want. With that black spray paint, you're going to see some And don't worry about all this black.
You're going to see it rub it ruin
in,
that white.
I
like a more distressed look, so it looks dirty.
If
If you like it clean, you can go in immediately with some rubbing alcohol and clean that right up and make it look neater. I just like the distressed, dirty, I just came out of Jurassic Park kind of look for this kind of design. So you just take that acetone and, use your finger or the tip of your fingernail or something like that if you want to do a really small place, and just kind of rub at the spray paint until you get as much glitter as you want exposed.
Once I'm done doing the acetone removal of the spray paint, you'll see me go in here with some rubbing alcohol right there and kind of clean it up. I do want it to be dark, but I don't want it to be so dark you can't read what it says. So I do clean up some of that extra black spray paint and wipe it off until I get a look that I really like. Like, you'll see me go back in there and kind of darken it up a little bit. You can have it as the more alcohol you use to clean it down, the cleaner it'll be. So it's totally personal preference for this part. All right, I'm ready to get started on my backings, except for this one. I didn't sand down this one, and I've got a little bit, I don't know if you can see it, there's kind of a shard sticking up, so I'm going to sand that down and put another coat of epoxy on it just to make sure it's nice and smooth. The rest of them are good. So I'm just going to put that one to the side, and I'm going to do the backings for these. I'm going to plug my hot glue gun in because it takes forever to heat up. And get rid of these. And you can see the dots here on my silicone mat. That's just a little bit that has leaked over, which is fine, not hardly any. Alright, and so now our next step is to get this masking tape off the back. So what I do is I have a not very sharp X-Acto knife. And what I'm gonna do is go through, and if you've seen me do this before, feel free to fast forward. I'll never know. Is I take the masking tape and I kind of peel it up. And what I try to do is where these dots are on here, it's kind of, please ignore my dog going crazy in the background. She's spastic. Is kind of pull it up, and then you can see if I push in, it will come right out. Don't peel it away like a banana, because you could peel the epoxy off the sides and ruin your seal, and it'll ruin the finish. So if it comes up like that, like you can see that right there, push it in and it'll come off and be a clean break. So if they don't come up, like this one didn't come up very naturally, I just take my X-Acto knife and slide my knife under there and kind of force it up, and it'll come right off. You shouldn't have too hard of a problem unless you've got super thick, unless you put way too much epoxy. I find it usually takes about 8 to 10 mLs of epoxy per tile to give a good clean finish. Anything more than that, you just get a whole lot of runoff. So, and you can also take your knife and just kind of slide it across that seam, and it will come right off. Go. And I'm just gonna fast forward through the rest of these. You don't need to watch me do them all in regular speed, but one is complete. It really is easier to slide your knife, as you see me doing here, under the masking tape. The only time I really pull up the tape and try to peel the epoxy by hand is if I've got a really thick layer of epoxy, or it's just someone that are real stubborn. So here we are. There are 3 tiles. Ready to get started. For these, I put felt on the back of them. Sometimes if I have any, you can get like the skid proof, the clear skid proof things that so your tile doesn't slide. I don't have any of those right now, and not willing to go to Walmart to get any. So these ones are going to be skid proof free. But feel free to do that if that is your jam. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a line of hot glue. Make sure my glue gun is loaded. I put a line of hot glue right here. And then on my felt, I kind of push it down and forward to get that glue there, but then to make sure it doesn't come and bleed out on that particular side. And then give it a good press. And if you've got some overhang like that, I just put a little tiny bit in there. I don't want so much that it's going to do what I just did. So, there we go. And that, just gonna take, there we go. Hot glue peels right off. It's just a pain, so I hate to do that. Okay. Go. Got the one side, and so next I just do each side. So I go right along this line on the tile and go right down it. I do a pretty generous amount. There we go. Fold it over and kind of press it down and then turn it over just so I can see and make sure that I'm not getting a lot of overhang of the glue, which that looks to be just about perfect. Right. Then this side. And you can use a popsicle stick for this part because that glue does tend to get hot. Especially, I have like the one from Home Depot. It's like industrial and so hot sometimes. I've burned my finger through the felt. There we go. And then you can glue in the middle too if you want. It's not necessary, but if it makes you feel better, you can totally do that. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Just depends on my mood. Alright, so now that we're all glued and good, take my scissors and I'm going to hold my scissors at a 45-degree angle. And I've chosen the dullest scissors that I have. Let's try some sharper ones. Alright, and then just going to slice, just cut right along that line. There you go. Gives me a nice clean line. Same thing, all four sides. All right, there we are. All done. And we'll do the next two. I'll speed through it so you don't have to watch me do it over and over.
There's really no right or wrong way to do this. Sometimes if my hot glue gun is hot enough, I will do all four sides and just kind of press it down on the felt and let it adhere that way. Sometimes I'll do one side at a time because it will cool off too much and not stick. So it's really your own preference. You can put whatever you want in the back of these. Cork is a really nice way to finish it off if you have the 4x4 cork tiles. Sometimes I just prefer the felt. It's just a little bit easier in my opinion, and I like the finish that it gives. So it's just all personal preference. There's no wrong way to do it. And if you do get some hot glue that goes over the edge, that's totally fine. Just use your X-Acto knife and cut it off. It will peel right off. No big deal.
All right, and there we go. I'm gonna redo another layer of epoxy on this other one, but these three are all done and backed with the, this is, I want to say this one is Greed. It's got the, you can't see the green, but it has a very green to like yellow orange shift. This one is Scandalous. It's like the rose gold. You can kind of see it. It's more pink. And then this is the Drama that has like all the colors. It's probably my favorite one. All right, there we go. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you learned something and had fun making these tiles. I know I did. Let me know what kind of stuff you want to see. I've had a request for a softball name tile, so I'm working on that tutorial. I'm also working on a nautical theme one, as like my stripes, have a tutorial in the works for this one. This is an alcohol ink rainbow music name tile, and I'm not totally in love with this font, so I think I'm going to use a different one, and this striped one. So those are in the works and on the way. If you have something you'd like to see, let me know in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much for joining, and happy tiling.